Hey everybody, it's Chrissy, it's Wootini over at GayGamer.net here with another weekly video podcast. And as promised, I did try the Tomodachi Life demo that I had downloaded and never touched. I also, even though I'm not done with Doki Doki Universe, I couldn't resist at least trying a little bit of Dino Crisis. Wild Arms I didn't want to get into because that's like this big epic RPG nonsense. But I figured I could just try a little bit of Dino Crisis and, you know. And it really is just Resident Evil with dinosaurs. It's pretty much the same thing. And it's so charming to go back to play PS1 games. And I love the novelty of playing a PS1 game on a little handheld gaming device. Because at the time, those polygons were like... And now you can play even better than that in the palm of your hand. I also, so far it's quite delightful. There's some dinosaurs, it's fine, it's entertaining, but what I love is the fact that I had forgotten how horrible the Resident Evil control scheme used to be. Those tank controls, oh, so that took some getting used to. But anyway, I tried Tomodachi Life. And you know what? The Tomodachi Life demo is kind of terrible, I've decided. Because basically, it's way too short to really get a good sense of the game, I feel. And it just doesn't... It's not enough. So it kind of gives you a glimpse of the quirky game, but you don't really get into it to where you're like, okay, I've really got to get this game, because I've got to keep playing this. Because you can take whatever you've done in the demo, you can save the demo as you play, and you get 20 plays, and then you can import that into the full game when you buy the full game. And whatever you've done with your characters on the island up until that point, you can transfer into the full game. But, it doesn't give you enough to do with them. Like, you can solve, like, 5 problems, but basically, in the little tutorial section, you solve 5 problems. So when it lets you loose, there's nothing else to do. You know, they don't need anything. They just sort of sit there, and they do stuff, and they, like, promote the full game. They're like, hey, did you know that you can do this in the full game, and that in the full game, and hey, don't you want to get the full game? But... you know, I feel like there wasn't enough to do in the demo, like maybe 10 problems or something, just to give you a little bit more of an idea of what kind of things you'd be doing in the game. Because the other thing is that it's so little, and you only unlock like 4 buildings, you know, like there's all these other things on the island that you have to unlock as you play. And obviously in the demo, it only unlocks like the main apartment building and like a couple other things. And I feel like it's not enough of a taste, and I'm concerned that as it goes on, I'm not going to like it. I don't know. Because the thing is, and this is the thing that I was concerned about as I started playing it, you know, I mean, I appreciate all the customization and how you can, you know, give them catchphrases, and they talk, and you can change their voice and their personality. You can adjust personality so that people will behave like... if they're based on real people, they can behave like those real people. And I appreciate all that. That's kind of cool. But I'm not crazy about... like, you have your own avatar in the game, but that's not you. It's your lookalike. And it says lookalike in the game. And to me, that's not as appealing. That's more like The Sims, and I've never liked The Sims because you're God looking down on these creatures and you're trying to tell them what to do, and sometimes they're like, no, I'm going to do this. And it's annoying, and you're like, no, put out the fire. And they're like, no, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And it's like, no, your house is on fire. Okay, then die. And it's frustrating. I like to have direct control over my character. So I prefer something like Animal Crossing or Disney Magical World, where it's you and you're in the world and you're interacting with the world and the people in it. You know, here, you're just from above, you're playing God with these little creatures, and it's, to me, not as appealing as actually being on the island. I mean, there was one Sims game for, like, Game Boy Advance that I tried, and that one, because it was Game Boy Advance, you couldn't do proper Sims controls, so they made it so that you could control yourself, and you basically walked around a little town, and you had, like, adventures, and you interacted with people, and you had a job, and you had to do this and that and the other thing. And that was the only Sims game I've ever liked, because you were in direct control of yourself, interacting with the world around you. And that, to me, was much more appealing. So, it's weird, like, Tomodachi Life, I love the quirkiness, it's all very silly, and it does give you a good taste of the silliness and whatever. So that's kind of amusing. But I don't know if that gameplay is going to appeal to me in the long term. And then also, I expressed concern over the real-time clock, and do you have to maintain it, do you have to play every day? And I was told, people commented and said, no, you don't have to play every day, it's fine, don't worry about it. But you'll want to play every day because, the stock changes in the store and that sort of thing, and, obviously that's the kind of thing, just like in Animal Crossing. But, like, they get hungry. And in the demo, it starts off, and they're like, I'm hungry, and you have to give them food. And then they're fine. But then, because you only solve 5 problems, anytime you check on them after that, they just talk to you and everything seems fine, even if their stomach is empty. So, I'm like, okay, so if their stomach is empty, like, they would normally complain to me, and they'd be miserable, and I would have to feed them, because that's how the game would work. And it's just not doing that because in the demo, you only have to do that a few times, and then that's it. Because that, again, like The Sims, that's going to get really frustrating if I've got an apartment building full of people and they're all miserable and needing things, and I'm literally just going to be sitting there tapping on all their windows and, like, trying to fix all their problems and stuff. And so my next question is, how much of that kind of upkeep do you have to do? Because that seems like it would get really frustrating if you filled that apartment building. Everybody would be needing something, and you would literally, like, turn on the game, and you couldn't really enjoy yourself because you'd have to be solving all their problems. So I don't know. That concerns me as well, because to me that's like The Sims. It's constant upkeep and maintenance, and keeping them fed, keeping them clean, keeping them, from ruining their houses or whatever, and peeing on the floor. Although they don't do that in Tomodachi Life, I don't think. Like, that kind of thing is not appealing to me, which is why I've never liked The Sims. So, again, in the comments, let me know if that's basically what this game ends up being, is all this upkeep, because then I'm really not going to want it. Because I was tempted. I tried it, and I was like, eh. Then I went back again, and I'm like, okay, this is cute and quirky and funny. But then I realized that it wasn't the real game, because they're not having problems. They'd normally be having lots of problems that I would have to solve. They'd need food, they'd need this, that, and the other thing. So I was like, well, maybe not. Because Best Buy had a sale last week where you could buy one first-party Nintendo 3DS game and you get one for, I don't know if it was free, it might have just been half off, but I think it was free. I don't remember. But I was like, I could get Tomodachi Life and something else, But I'll wait and hear what other people say, and maybe I'll pick it up down the road sometime when it's, on clearance after 6 months or something. Maybe by Christmas time it'll be super cheap. Or I'll just put it on my Christmas list and have somebody get it for me as a gift, and that way if I don't like it, no skin off my teeth. So that's it. I'll see you next week then. Let me know what you think of Tomodachi Life if you're playing it. And if not, then I'll see you next week and I'll talk about something else. See ya. Bye.